Hey there and welcome back to the Kobi and audio experience. In this episode, Zac and I are sitting down to have a chat and specifically discuss how we can help people who are studying at university, i.e. Zac right now, make some advancements in what they're up to. I have no idea what questions Zac is about to ask me, so let's see what I can bring straight out of the bag. Welcome back to the studio, Zac. Always good to see you on a Thursday. Thanks for this. Looking forward to your questions.
Absolutely.
This is part of the one-on-one exercises we do with everybody here at Best Practice, part of our coaching. There's a great book called The Coaching Habit I can recommend. Mr. Stanier has produced that book. If you haven't got that copy of The Coaching Habit, please do that. We implement that process here. So Zac, first question out of The Coaching Habit is, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is because I went through my last exam yesterday, well, he's hoping. So I think obviously it's been such a hectic year. I've probably done more in the past year than I probably have over
In your whole life?
Yeah, it's been jam-packed and it's been good, but very exhausting and whatnot. So obviously, there's a part of me that wants to step back and just breathe for a second, just switch off and all that kind of thing, which I will do. But I suppose at the same time, there is a certain level of cautiousness over not being able to return to the level after, because obviously being so tired, I don't want to stop and then not be able to return to the to where I am right now. So I suppose just in terms of being able to maintain those levels after taking a bit of time off, any recommendations?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I do think like any athlete, you're like athletes, high performance athletes will run a race, play a game, swim a swim, sail a sail. Any of those competitive athlete sports. So I think looking at sporting and looking at, you've been pushing really hard at university, you've been working really hard, sort of kind of focusing on that. I think the first conversation I was just having like 5 minutes ago around looking at the different elements of life or the different headings or the different categories of life. So, family, health, fitness, money, career, finance, spirituality, friends, some of those things might have been neglected. And so when you're talking about actually sitting back and having a rest or breathing, it might actually be that one of those other parts of your life needs some attention. Health and fitness, for example, rest and relaxation. There's nothing wrong with craving holidays and having a holiday and having some time out. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So we don't necessarily choose a career path in terms of study unless we want to be a perpetual student. For most of us, it's like, yes, we get over that hurdle, we can do the learning experience, get the outcomes of the tertiary learning experience, then we move on to work or focusing on other parts of life. So I think the one thing that I'd say is, yes, it's okay to take the break. In going into that break, it is also, it's good to be thinking about what you do want to focus on. So it's like, okay, what do I want to do more of, what do I want to do less of? So using some of that time off to turn around and say, actually, what did I like, what didn't I like? If I think back over the last year, what did I do that didn't add any value? What did I do that did add value? And then coming back out of that break, so using that break as like some planning time, coming back out of that break to work out what you're passionate about or what you want to focus on next. Whether what you want to focus on next is, right, I want to start getting stuck into my career, I want to go and do some meaningful work, I want to earn some money, I want to earn some money because I want to move out, I want to rent, I want to get an apartment, whatever that might be. Then you can start focusing on friends or relationships or family or the different parts of life. So I think taking the time off is good, provided you start to use some of that time to think about, okay, what's next? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like any athlete, think about what all the athletes do after the Olympics finish. So there's always this massive lead up to the Olympics, but after the Olympics finish, they all go and have a party and they go crazy and they have a bit of time off and then they think, okay, right, what's my training plan going to be? Am I going to do the Olympics again in 4 years' time? They set up a 4-year training plan. What events, what tests, what action do I need to take? So if you can think about that aspect and you can say, yeah, all right, so hopefully finish my last exam, I'll sit back now, wait for the results. Okay, what's next? How do I actually leverage that? For me, on a holiday or rest and relaxation, I'll take a book. Take books everywhere, obviously, as everybody knows, but also I won't necessarily pick up a camera. Like I've done plenty of trips and long travel and long holidays where I've committed, right, I'm going to write some articles, I'm going to work on my book while I'm on holidays, I'm going to do that, and I don't touch a book, I don't touch a keyboard, I don't touch a device, I completely lose it and switch off. So I do it too. So maybe my advice would be have a look at the wheel of life. It's an image. So do a Google search, wheel of life. You'll see the spokes of the wheel, and then the different categories of life. Rate yourself on a scale of like 0 to 5. How are you going? So from a career perspective, you've knocked off the university process. That exam's finished. From a career perspective, you'd have to give yourself a 4 or a 5 for now. And then you might say health and fitness. I'm going to give myself a 2. Then you say family and friends. I'm going to give myself a 3. Spirituality, whatever that means. If that's ethics, mindset, mindfulness, knowledge consumption, how you're living, identifying your values, maybe you give yourself a 2. And that's going to be constantly changing. And those things, it's organic, so the borders and barriers are always going to be moving. So think about some categories. Go and have a holiday. One of the wheels of life is fun. Don't forget that. So you want to rate yourself on a scale of like 0 to 5. How much fun have you been having lately? Not much, because the uni's been hard work. Go have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose then, obviously, I've talked about having a lot on, having done a lot, finish a uni degree, do marketing for society, do marketing for you guys. I did a finance internship before coming here, which was great, and obviously, proud to have been able to accomplish those and go through those experiences. Obviously, it's coming to a point where you finish uni and you head into a more full-time role. How obviously it becomes more difficult with more time constraints and whatnot, but it's being able to substitute those sort of things, like, okay, no more marketing director for society because you're not with uni, but you still want to sort of have that other thing on the side that isn't necessarily work. Maybe it's not necessary for yourself or whatever, but how difficult is it to be able to substitute all those things to keep up that sort of pace that I've been going at? Not necessary.
No. I'll give you my example in my life. Saturday mornings for me is like I take 10 kids sailing. So that's an investment of time in something else. It's one of my philanthropic activities. I volunteer my time. I organise 2 groups of 10 every second Saturday. It's a different group. So this week it's group 1, next week it's group 2, and then group 1, then group 2. And that's a philanthropic activity that I give to a particular part of the community. I enjoy sailing, teaching these kids to sail little boats. Get to see the kids grow and develop and that sort of stuff. And so for me, my son's obviously involved, so that's part of it. And that's me contributing to my yacht club. So I think doing meaningful work like that and giving without any expectation of return, I think is good. And I think it's blending that thing. And you look at someone like Bill and Melinda Gates, that's almost all they do now. Yes, they manage their investments, but they do the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So the more money you have, the more philanthropic activities you should be doing.
Of course.
So if you start now, then you start, and that's giving back to the community. So, I think that, they talk about, obviously career, making money, that sort of stuff. Money just magnifies the person that you are. So, and I have seen that happen. So in terms of how do you balance those things, you just set yourself some goals and say, okay, this is what I want to do next with my career. This is what I want to do next with my voluntary time or my community activities. This is, maybe a fun activity I want to go do with my friends or who will ever come and do that with me. Here's somebody interesting I'd like to meet or learn more about. Here's an interesting book, something completely different I'd like to read. So, if you can be expanding your knowledge on skills, hobbies, interest areas at all the time, you'll continue to be an interesting person to yourself and other people. So, how do I balance that? I just basically try and schedule it and say, right, this is what I'm going to do. Like right now, I'm planning a holiday for June next year, which is a driving holiday to the top of Australia to do Cape York. I've done it before, planning with a different group of people, starting to take the notes. We've roughly set the date, approximately within a 2-week period when we're going to leave. That's happening. I'm going. So I'm not doing it right now, but I'm doing it then. So I'm starting to set those goals. One piece of career advice I give you, which I've been giving a lot of people lately, is keep experimenting. Don't necessarily think you need to lock yourself into a full-time role. You could be going and doing, keep trying. I said to a guy the other day, go and try 20 different jobs. You might say, oh, actually I studied, I did the finance internship, I studied marketing as a degree. Yes, I like it, but maybe you start going to do marketing in different industries. And so the society thing was really interesting. Try some marketing for a car company, or try some marketing for, you can sort of go, okay, hang on a minute, like I'm going to do this, but the mistake I made was I was accepting of a full-time role because I needed the money, and that has had a long-reaching implication on my career.
From a hirer's perspective, you talk about not locking yourself out. Just from, this is probably some information that I've been told previously, and I'm not sure whether it's relevant now, and that's probably why I ask. You talk about, I'm working for a B2B company like Best Practice, and then you talk about a car company and all that. Do those guys look at you and say that you run, like, for example, if I was to transition now and say go B2B and then go like Ford or whatever, yeah. Do they look at you and say, because you haven't dealt with B2C, we're not gonna...
You're assuming they're a 5 out of 5. You're assuming they're a good company to work for, and they're organised, and you're assuming that they are organised and they're professional and they're good
leaders. That's
leaders.
the easy way to do it, right?
Exactly. You can make that assumption. So would someone say, you've done B2B, you haven't done B2C, we're not going to hire you because you've got no B2C experience? Of course people are going to say that. Yeah. But I'm going to say they're not seeing the big picture, and you're not going to work for them anyway. So I wouldn't care, because I'm like, it's about, do you understand human psychology? So I think, the first mistake we make is we hold ourselves back because we make an assumption. We put them up on a pedestal, we make an assumption that they know what they're talking about, they know what they're looking for. My question to you is, could you go into B2C, if using that specific example, could you go into B2C and figure it out? Fucking oath you could, because of what you've learned here at Best Practice. So if you make sure you promote the fact that you've been working in a team that's done 27,000 social media posts so far in 2020, and it's only November, we haven't finished the year yet. We've got some weeks coming up where we're going to be doing 1,000 posts a week. So we're going to hit the 30,000 mark. So we have an average, we're going to be a bit below 1,000 posts a week as an average. You go to any company and you tell them that that's what you've been doing. It's incredible what you've learned at that company. You are very valuable. And if someone doesn't see that, it's not the right company, because they don't value the work that we'd get done. It's got nothing to do with you. They don't value the work that we get done.
Is that something that you think a lot of companies, just from your opinion, do, just in terms of they don't look at the actual person, so to speak, in terms of what they can bring, but they just sort of look at, obviously what they need, but they're like, okay, we need B2C and all that. They don't consider all those sort of outsiders and all that kind of thing.
I'm not looking at the features of this iPhone right now. I'm looking at the things it can do for me. And so a good company is looking at the things you can do for them. You can bring attention to them, you can bring them more customers. If you bring them more customers, you'll bring them more revenue, you'll bring them more brand awareness, you'll improve their reputation. They're looking for the benefits. We get too often caught up in our features and not actually the benefits. So going in and doing that sales pitch that I talk about, do the massive information gathering. What are the challenges that you've got? What does success look like? What are the things you want to achieve? So if you get the chance for the interview, or if even you're making the inquiry, you say, hey, what are the things you're trying to solve? What are the challenges you've got? What do you really want your company to do? Forget marketing for a minute, let's talk about the company's goals. I just want to understand if I'm going to be the right fit for you. It's my intention to come and work for you eventually, when you're ready to have me. So right now I want to prep and I want to understand what you're trying to achieve and what are pain points for you and what are concerns for you, so I can work on them and improve them. So when you're ready to take me, I'll be the 5-star version, and I'll be able to guarantee I can bring you those benefits you're looking for. That's my sales pitch, right? So yes, it's a master technique, but that's the script to use. We get too caught up focusing on ourselves. I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not handsome enough, I'm not experienced enough, I don't have the right industry. It's not about that. The sales pitch is basically saying, what are your challenges? It's empathy. It's just starting with empathy and saying, what do you want? What is it that you're looking for? What are the challenges? You're going to be investing salaries and wages in this person that's going to fulfill this role, whether it's me or someone else. What are you expecting? Excuse me, what are you expecting to get for that? So I can clearly understand how I can present the experience I've got to you and show you that I can give you those things you're looking for. I just want to know what you're looking for. So in thinking about 3 months into this role, what does success look like? We've got some social media going, we've fixed up our social media pages, we've got some good collateral, we've updated our website, whatever marketing, we've done some advertising, we've done some events, the different activities that you've sort of been part of, we've done some videos. Oh, okay, great. All right. Well, now that I understand that you want to do some videos and you want to do some marketing, you want to do some social media, let me tell you about 27,000 posts on social media in 2020. Oh, what? I was like, yeah, we've done videos, we've done Instagram, we've done this, and I can tell you all the analytics. And by the way, I'm still connected into that team, and I can call them and DM them anytime, and they're going to tell me the updates because they give everything away for free. Here they are, it's best practice. And they're going to be like, holy shit, so you're back to my massive team. Yes, I've got this enormous network that I've already built. You're very valuable. There's not many people in the world, let alone in Australia right now, that have been part of what we've created this year.
Yeah. Sure.
Even all my colleagues
Yeah.
are blown away by what we've done. Yeah, absolutely.
Last but not least, what book should I take away to read on my week off? Next week? I just finished Gary V's. Ask Gary V. That was the one.
Yes.
I read.
Yeah.
Got a couple more on the way, but what's next?
I'm excited to read, and I've started, is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah.
So-
Big talk over the past couple of weeks and all that.
There's been a lot of promotion of it.
Yeah.
I purchased it. The opening couple of pages, like I wasn't quite sure what I was buying.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's a book about running downhill, and it's setting yourself up so you're always running downhill.
Yeah.
It's obviously easier to run downhill and it's faster.
Cool.
So I was like, okay, let me see how this guy's brought it to it. It's a bit of a memoir, but it's also got some guidance and advice on how he's approached life and continues to. It's really well put together. You can see a lot of the money's been put behind putting it together. He's never going to make money out of selling a book, right? The guy's made money already. So he's writing a memoir. I think it's really good. So I can recommend Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Like that's live right now. We might tag him in this post. So a couple of copies of that turned up here for. I'm giving some of those to my family for Christmas. I just gave it away if they're watching. So I think maybe a book on copywriting. So I think in terms of where your career is going in terms of marketing. So I think something on words that work or breakout marketing, something on copywriting, that kind of thing. That's what I'm also focusing on at the moment. So I've got a couple of those books. And I've also got a good book I can lend you. Actually, I'll give you a copy. Is Fit for Life. So, which is eating to live, not living to eat. And it's about how to manage the ingredients in your body and at what points in time of the day to get optimal performance. So it's not about dieting or exercising or any of that sort of stuff. It's about I want to think smarter, I want to be faster, I want to have more energy, and so how do I actually manage the ingredients to achieve that? So Fit for Life, it's about a 40-year-old book. I've bought almost every single second-hand copy available on the internet. So if you can't find a copy, blame me. But Fit for Life. Yeah.
Noted.
All right, awesome. So this has been the Kobi Summit Audio Experience. What is it? What are we now? We're CEO versus uni student. Zac's finishing up. Well done to Zac for joining us. Hope you guys have enjoyed all of these episodes. As always, if you have got questions, direct message me on Instagram or on LinkedIn. Love answering your questions. It gives me a bit of feedback on are we covering the right topic. I know we're doing a lot of topics right now, but if there's a specific topic or a specific question you've got, reach out to me. Send me that message. I love it. We're changing the format of our show over the next couple of weeks, so I'm really excited to be doing that to bring you some more attention and some more feedback and some more knowledge. So I'm not going to give too much away about what we're doing, but look out for that. So come back to the Best Practice TV YouTube channel, back to our live streams on LinkedIn, and back to the Kobi Summit Audio Experience to see what changes they are. They're really exciting, and it's just about bringing you more amazing content, so I look forward to that. So if you don't see us out and about, if you don't see Zac while he's away on leave, or if you don't see me out and about, you're definitely going to see us right here next time on Best Practice TV. Bye for now.